Hi Aquas, and happy birthday. So it is 2018 and I'm doing things a little bit differently because some people here are just to get general readings. Some people are here to be very particular about their life situations. Most people are about their love problems. So I decided to have different series every week. So I just released the monthly overview. This is monthly as well for Aquarius, but here I will be able to give you quite a few scenarios. So it could be one, it could be all of them, it could be your situation. In any case, this is Lenormand Grand Tableau, and it is like a different method of divination, but this one I usually use when I read for the clients, when I really need to really know the particular details, like what would happen and how one thing affects another. So let's start, Aquarius. So we have two significators in Lenormand. Well, we have more people that can show up, the lady and the gentleman. In this case, I will be giving you different storylines, and you guys tell me if you are fitting in any of that. Your likes, your subscribes are appreciated. So this is like really energy intense for me, and I really need to see that in order to kind of like continue. Okay, so what is interesting here with the significators that I see the coffin. I don't know if you can see it. Here's the coffin, and coffin is in the house of the ship. So if some of you are having, let's say, long distance relationships, or relationship better to say, there are like some issues where you maybe think there is a third party, or that your partner is kind of like fooling around, and like there is like certainly kind of like that issue. There is like this will to kind of like move that relationship forward, but there's like still unknown where you and partner, there is nothing in between the two of you. So I have a feeling that one storyline is for those of you who are looking for somebody new. So if you're looking for somebody new, then somebody does exist in the present time who basically should be a good partner for you. That person at this moment is thinking about settling down. Definitely, he is actually a really good person who is thinking about good reputation. So he has the ship here, see, and this is the house of the ship. Now, maybe you're, or the ladies, you maybe already know this person and you haven't noticed this person. Maybe this is somebody sort of like a Knight of Pentacles, somebody who is like really not the person that jumps at you, but somebody who really grows on you over time. So some of you, however, the second storyline would be leaving your partner. Those of you who are maybe in relationships where maybe you suspect that there is somebody else. You, some of you will need to heal. Some of you really need to heal from relationship where there were gossips or there were other people involved, and you're kind of like shaking your head over what you did put yourself through, right? You have the snake in the house of the bird, so this is just a double whammy. It will feel that your emotions are not respected. It will really feel that no amount of you know, convincing and talking out with other people will hear and land a sympathetic ear. It's going to feel like almost like this other person is winning. It could be also that somebody from this person you're with past showed up, and they're like basically continuing on their merry way. It might look like, oh my gosh, they're waltzing together to the sunset, right? The good news for some of you is that you do have the dog in the heart, in the house of the heart. So some of you like really having people who are really loyal and who kind of like are really right now trying to accumulate as much money, or at the very least kind of like put their career on a good track to kind of like continue. Some of you are trying to figure out that soft spot, because the heart and the tower is actually a weird combination, because it can mean both ways, both kind of like going forward and going backward. So some of you will go forward. In fact, go forward with planning to have a child and kind of like settling down, and sort of like communication is going to improve, because look at this, you have the crossroads. Those that will move forward, they do have kind of like fate that's going to step in. And how would you know if this is you? That's kind of like interesting, because look, the birds, and this is like in the bird's house showing up, and the heart here is in the house of the crossroads, where you have the birds in the mountain. So those of you who do not hit the problems, those of you who kind of like wiggle out, because look at in this path, I see that there'll be this like one person who will be kind of like preventing this like easy development, and who will basically stand in the way, right? So because both of you are knighting that snake. So who is the snake in the mist, right? Other, however, paths that can go this way is talking about, hey, like reputation is important, reputation is everything, and kind of like let's build it and let's kind of like hook up, because the tower here in Lenormand is not the same as the tower in tarot. In fact, tarot, the tower here talks about the government. The tarot here talks about institution. Mind you, this can also be the prison, and key to the prison, maybe somebody's getting out and there's like a big celebration. So that kind of like would explain one of these scenarios, that somebody kind of like got caught by the third party, right? So also, some of you may be meeting, especially for those of you singles, or even for some of you, maybe this kind of relates. This can actually relate to a very tall person, right? Or, you know, it can also talk about somebody being secluded, somebody really feeling secluded because of the long distance. Maybe somebody's traveling and somebody's like feeling lonely at this stage. So the sun is in the house of the coffin. So the coffin in this deck, it means it's kaput. It's in the other decks, it could mean like resurrection, just like the death card, but not in this one. The sun being in the coffin house and the bear is in the house of the sun, it's just telling me that some of you are really redefining your finances. Some of you are really trying to figure out, you know, what is the best path to follow, because you Aquarians, right, this month we are kind of like switching our regular way of thinking. While I would not say that we are robotic, we do have this bad rap that we are aloof. We are simply aloof sometimes because we just cannot take emotions. And this case, guys, what I see, because the heart is residing in the house of the crossroads, that we will be actually choosing, especially there is the Fate card, and the Fate card is in the house of the clouds. So that's why it's, for me, it's a wild card. I kind of like really don't know what will happen, because crossroads and crossroads are basically both underneath. So which path will you take? So one path obviously goes here to reconciliation. So some of you will reconcile after somebody who had an affair, or the third person has been heavily involved. That could be a mother-in-law, and you know, the basically standard, you know, usual suspects, right? Or it could be ex-wife who just cannot stand somebody new, and it's simply creating problems just because she kind of like didn't move with her own life, or ex-husband didn't move on his life, so now he's spending time stalking. The heart and the whip together is a good combination. The whip is also falling in the house of the mice. Neither whip nor mice is a good card on its own. They are both negative cards, and they have the sinister 7 here. But when the whip falls in the house of the mice, it's a good thing, because it's going to chase all these little issues and negativity that might be existent. And hence, when this is cleared, then there is like some kind of clarity, because you see the key, and so the Fate has a big basically place in the month, but the key basically card, which besides the sun, but the sun is kind of like set in this particular reading. So we will be literally deciding with our heart this month. And the house of the faith or karma has a key, which is the second or maybe even the first best, because it's going to unlock this door. And it's not an instinct, it's not intuition, it is literally our heart. And I have to tell you that sometimes I really don't think, and maybe this is Aquarian in me talking, that the heart is the best way to go. Because sometimes heart wants what the heart wants, and we maybe find ourselves in a toxic relationship. So some of you guys will really need to, because the center of the reading is kind of interesting. Because there is the moon, the birds, the garden, and the snake. So 3 really good cards. The moon is a good card in this deck. The moon basically talks about reputation. It talks about kind of like moving forward. It talks about diligence, right? It can be also honor and fame. So something definitely will be soon coming to the surface. And maybe about somebody's hanky-panky. Maybe somebody was going on a trip, Florida trip, and something happened there, and it's going to get revealed. But maybe you already know that, and now you're going to be deciding, you know what, I think he or she did prove me since that this kind of like has been put to rest, and I'm choosing to forgive. Maybe not forget, forgive, and start moving forward. I'm not going to let this kind of like annoy me anymore, because there were enough of that. However, the others of you, exactly the same situation, might actually feel that somebody's really stirring the pot, that maybe you have friends who are like really willing, because this is like the birds are in the house of the mountain, like, you know, like when you have friends and the sort of like, or they even these guys that they teach them that school, what do they call them, pickup schools or something, pickup artists. Ugh, don't even get me going on those gross creatures, right? So pay her a compliment and, you know, but kind of disguise it. Oh, you know, you have such a beautiful smile. Just too bad you don't comb your hair the other way to show it more. So it's just like backslap, kind of like insult. Yeah, you know what, they tried on me, that kind of like didn't work. And this kind of looks like that maybe you have somebody like that who is like so mean, kind of like passive aggressive. Eliminate them. Eliminate them, stop them, because that's the problem that can kind of like penetrate like your sense of well-being. So Aquarians, the child is over here. So for those of you who are mothers or parents, the child is going to bring you lots of joy this month. It's going to be really good, and altogether it's going to feel like good month. It's going to feel like grounding month. It's going to feel like, okay, I have to figure out where I'm going, and you'll be listening to your heart. So let's see where this goes. Aquas, enjoy. Talk to you next month with Lenormand.